I hope you get this today. God is the fountain of hope, and His hope is a well that never runs dry. Hey, this is Jeff with Hope Again. Thanks for tuning in. Before I get to this week's message, I just want to talk about what we're all thinking about right now. There's a lot of worry and concern all across our country, all across the world for that matter, with this COVID-19 pandemic virus that's going on. And it's affecting every single one of us, no matter who you are, what your background is, where you live, where you're from. Even I found out today that our Walmart is about to have one entrance and one exit only. They're counting people as they go in. I know other cities have already started doing that, but it's made its way here. They're even blocking off the clothing section. So people are encouraged to only come in and purchase the bare essentials for their life, take care of their family. And I think it's really interesting that every news channel that I watch, everything that I read online, I just keep seeing the word hope, hope, hope. We've got to give people hope. And I love that word hope. I used to have another business called Hope Trailers. I love the word hope, and it's definitely what we need. And that's why I've been sharing this story, because our story is one of lost hope and hope being restored. And I've enjoyed sharing the story. It was scary. To be honest with you, it was a lot harder thinking about it and preparing for it and getting to the place where I actually had the courage to do it, put it out there, push the button, hit send. But I can tell you, after I recorded that video about 3 weeks ago and I pressed stop on that record when I was doing the teaching on Hope Dies, I felt an instant release and like a wave of peace. It was a very unusual emotion. But I can tell you, the process of confronting the real you or the real situation that you're facing can be really difficult and painful, but it's so worth it. I welcome you to that process. Last time I talked about hope awakening. It's a moment when you've gone through the grieving process, which I can honestly feel like experiencing a death. And then sometimes, out of nowhere, a glimmer of hope breaks through. Could be something that you read or you heard, a song or something. Hope awakening is when you just get tired of being in the cave. And maybe for the first time or the first time in a long time, you look up, you look to God, the Creator, and say, okay, I'm tired of this, whatever this is. I'm tired of this killing me. I'm tired of carrying this burden. I'm tired of, in my case, I was tired of feeling like a loser. I'm tired of being angry or holding on to bitterness. I'm done with beating myself up. It does no good. I'm done with playing all the what if and if only scenarios over and over and over in my mind. See, when you start saying things like that, it's a good indication that hope is beginning to awaken inside of you. You say, okay, God, I surrender. I give up. Please come, show up, God. And guess what? When you ask, He will every single time. When you turn to Him, even right now as you're watching this video, and you admit, hey, I'm not all that. I can't carry this. I don't know if I will make it through this. And you call on Him, He will come. When Jesus was trying to explain this principle to His disciples, He says, there's going to come a time very soon where I'm not physically going to be with you any longer. He said, it's going to be okay though. Why? He said, because I'm going to send the Comforter to you. They were like, Comforter, huh? What's that? He said, that's the Holy Spirit, the third part of the Trinity, God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. He's actually going to fill you, and if you'll ask Him to, He'll actually baptize you. Interesting word, baptized there. I mean, it means total submersion. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been baptized into worry. I've been submerged in sorrow and sadness. I know what it feels like to feel like you're drowning in depression. So I can think of a lot of worse things to be baptized into than giving God a chance, inviting His Spirit to invade the corners and pieces of my life. Not to just fill me, but drench me. So for me, when my hope began to awaken, I knew I had to seize that moment and get back to the basics. I had to jump on it right now while that light was shining. I started inviting the Holy Spirit into all the different areas and cracks and crevices, even the dark hidden ones in my life. And then that's when the Holy Spirit does what He does the best. Here's what He does. He convicts, and then He comforts. He convicts, and then He comforts. He exposes, and then He cleans a wound one at a time, and then He convicts, and then He comforts. And then ultimately what the Holy Spirit does is He empowers. He empowers us to do what? To get up. That's what I'm talking about today, when hope rises. Now, I've gone through some pretty dark moments in my life. I've dealt with pain at a level that I didn't know if I even wanted to continue living. And the thought of getting up, much less moving on, seemed impossible to me. And I'm not just talking about something that I dealt with for a week or so. I'm talking about like 2 or 3 years. What's crazy is I knew the answer, right? I mean, I knew what the Bible had to say about it. I had taught on it for years, for crying out loud. But you ever been there before? You're dealing or going through something and you know what you need to be doing, but you just don't want to. I mean, maybe even say, heck, I don't even care right now. I get that, man. That's why hope is such a huge thing. The whole deal with hope is when you have it, it's great. But when you lose it, the things that used to or should even matter to you just seem to kind of fade away. Your want to kind of takes a gut punch. So again, I say, although it may feel like your hope is dead, it's not. It's just taking a nap. Or maybe it was in a deep coma like mine was, and it just needs to be awakened. So when that awakening started happening in my life, I started calling on God, which you can do right now, and every time that hope got stirred up in me. But I'll be honest, it would fade. I would slip back, I would revert to old ways, and then it would come back again, and then it would slip back again. And then I'd get mad all over again, thinking about, all the details, about all the hell that my family and I had to go through. And then I'd have to have a heart-to-heart talk with God all over again. And once again, He'd show up. I mean, like seriously show up. Not like in a burning bush, but I could just feel it. And it wasn't because I was in a church. In fact, I wasn't in a church because I couldn't even hardly go to church because it hurt so bad that time in my life. When I could sense God the strongest in my life is a lot of times when I'm alone. I'm just having a little talk. In fact, I want to do a whole little series on prayer and just demystify this whole thing of having a talk with God. You see, the Holy Spirit, which lives inside of me, lives inside of you. And He whispers little things to me. So let me share this verse with you today, okay? Romans 15:13, I love this one. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope, there's that word again, by the power of the Holy Spirit. It's by that power. The Passion Translation, follow this one, man, says, now may God, the inspiration and fountain of hope, fill you to overflowing with uncontainable joy and perfect peace as you trust in Him. And may the power of the Holy Spirit continually surround your life with superabundance until you radiate with hope. Now you're just going to have to bear with me, okay? I need to teach on that verse just for just like 1 minute, okay? I want to read it a little bit slower and break it down just slightly. And really, I hope you stick with me. Verse 13, Romans says, now may God, who is He? He's the inspiration and fountain of hope. That's cool, man. May He fill you to overflowing with uncontainable joy and perfect peace. How? As you trust in Him. And may the power of the Holy Spirit, there it is, continually surround your life, like baptized, just completely immersed, with His superabundance until you, I love these last 3 words, radiate with hope. So man, you can radiate, you can be radioactive with hope. That sounds amazing. Sign me up. Yes, please. I'll take some of that. My goodness. I mean, I hope you get this today. God is the fountain of hope. And His hope is a well that never runs dry. Even when we get dry. I mean, we get distracted. We're worrying right now. We're stressed out. But God's not. He's the source of the purest form of hope. And He's dying to share it with you. Last verse, John 7:37, Jesus was hanging out at this big festival, and then He yells out to everyone, says, anyone who is thirsty may come to me. Anyone who believes in me may come and drink. Come to me for a drink. And then He says, rivers of living water will flow from that person's heart. And verse 39 says, when He says living water, He's speaking of the Holy Spirit, which was given to everyone believing in Him. There it is. Boom. Are you dry? Are you worried? We're all a little worried. 3 words. Turn to Jesus. 3 more words. Invite His Spirit. Invite His Spirit to invade your situation, and a fountain will get turned on inside of your heart. See, that's when hope goes from rising to exploding. But don't overcomplicate it. The way that God speaks to us is through His Holy Spirit. It's not complicated. Every one of you can hear the Holy Spirit. even a lost person, because that's how a lost person becomes saved, is through the calling of the Holy Spirit. It's that little voice inside of you. You know it's there. When you're at your lowest, God is set up to show off. You could be setting up for one of the most transformational moments of power in your life, because He's made strong in our weaknesses. It's the opposite of what our brain thinks. When you kneel, you rise in power. When you surrender, you become stronger. So here's my point today. When your hope begins to awaken, that's the Holy Spirit doing its thing, man. Stir it up, prime the pump, fan the flame, ask for more, like out loud. You know, come bring you a Route 44 cup and say, fill it up, Lord, I'm gonna hit the road. I need something to drink here. And let it rise. And as it rises, so do you. You rise up out of that worry. You rise up out of that anger. You rise and you stand. Stand up and say, my hope is found in you, God. You are my source. You're my strength. Say these things to Him. You are my fountain. Bring it on. Come on, Holy Spirit. Let it flow. Pour it out. Sprinkle it on me. Baptize me in it. Dump it on me. I'll jump in, whatever. I want it all. And I want it to keep coming, because that's the key. That's what makes a fountain a fountain. It just keeps coming. It's a circular process that's never ending. When that flow does stop, it's no longer a fountain anymore. It's a statue. And I can tell you, buddy, you don't need another statue in your life. That's dead, empty, boring religion. You need a source, not a lifeless statue. When that hope starts to rise, you just keep asking for more. And guess what God's doing? I have this weird visual up in heaven. I believe God's laughing. He's enjoying watching me and you get our joy back. He's enjoying watching us get a hold of that unexplainable peace, like, you know, kids splashing in a water puddle. I think if God had a camera, He'd pull it out, take a picture, and put your picture on His fridge. I think if God had a video camera, He would have been videoing me in slow motion as I was coming up out of my darkness and depression. And then when I fall again, which you will fall again, I think He shoots me a text with an attachment of that video with that dramatic music playing in the background to show me rising, looking at it and saying, Jeff, I just want to remind you of the last time you fell and the last time that you got your hope back and it began to rise. He's just reminding me, as He's reminding you, I'm here. I've always been here. I didn't go anywhere. I've just been waiting on you to stop long enough and look over here, so I could remind you that I have all the hope you could ever need. That's what God's telling you right now. I was talking to my dad the other night, and he reminded me of this little old saying. It says, all sickness isn't death. That means the things that, you know, that come into your life you think are going to kill you, that you're never going to make it over, but then you do. Listen to me. We will get through this. You will get through this. Your hope's not dead. It just needs to be awakened. You just need to be reminded who He says you are. Then you rise. You stand. Then you start walking. And then you can start running again, running that race, back in the flow. Come on. Come get a drink of this water and let your hope rise again. I hope that you'll leave your comments. And especially if you have any questions, please private message those or leave them in the comments below. And I hope that you'll keep liking and sharing and following. And if you can, subscribe to our YouTube channel and help us hit that 1,000 subscriber mark so that we can go live on YouTube and help expand the platform that God's given us here at Hope Again to share His love and hope with any and everyone who will listen. I'm looking forward to beginning a brand new series. I believe next week. I'm still praying about exactly what it should be. But we're going to spice things up a little bit. I'm going to be going on location, using different props and illustrations. But regardless, I can promise you this much. I will be here every Sunday night. But until next time, remember, there's always hope if you will just dare to hope again. God bless you. Have a good one.